An aggressive glaive with double the damage on melee hits and a bow that can jolt targets in just 2 hits, even outside this overpowered event. I'm Lego Flash, and these are the unique roles for the Heron Void Glaive and King Orfeo Arc Bow from Arms Week in Destiny 2 Renegades. If you pass them by, I get it. There are a lot of ways I wouldn't recommend these 2 event weapons, but there are 2 really unique things for each of them that you should know about. The first thing applies to both, and that's the new origin trait Nail Meat Hammer. Sounds intimidating, but it's very subtle and gives something that I want you to hold on to for the perks. On the Destiny Compendium, it says it gives 8% extra damage against combatant shields. I found this to be closer to 11% on the Glaive, but around that area. And then once a shield breaks, you also get 8% ammo energy in your ammo bar. If it's a special weapon with the perk, you just get heavy ammo energy, and if it's a primary weapon, you get special ammo energy. Important to note, you can't just break a shield over and over again until the bar fills up and a brick pops out. It will fill all the way up, but you have to actually get an elimination once it's almost to the top. Okay, now hold on to everything about that origin trait for these perks. Starting with the Glaive, the Heron, because I think it's the standout. We only have 3 other aggressive glaives in the game, but 2 you can't get anymore, the Trowel's Rake Angle and the Dawning's Albedo Wing. That alone makes the Heron unique, when the only other hard hitter is Judgment of Kel'Garath. On top of that, this is the only tier 5 glaive we have at all. So the perks, there might be a simple role you're looking for in the perks like Overflow and Unstoppable Force, that's fine, but there is something more unique here. I'm not talking Repulsor Brace and Destabilizing Rounds, not on a slow special weapon. In fact, don't be distracted by many of these perks or you'll end up pretty disappointed like this Guardian on Reddit. For glaives, things that require weapon kills do not activate on melee kills. The key to Heron is focusing on the synergy found between the 2, the shot and the melee. What I'm talking about is Disruption Break in the 3rd column and 2 various options in the 4th. The first is with close to melee. When you break a shield with a Disruption Break weapon, any kinetic damage will do 50% more damage to that enemy for 5.5 seconds. Now you may be thinking weapon swapping, but the buff is for any kinetic damage. Your Glaive melee is also kinetic damage, so you can simply go to town slapping the enemy down after breaking the shields and have a bonus 50% damage to every hit. But you can take it a step even further with close to melee. This is a 60% Glaive melee buff that is very easy to get rolling and keep rolling. The enhanced version has an 11-second timer that's activated on a weapon kill, but is refreshed every time you hit an enemy at all with a Glaive shot or melee, and it stays active even when stowed, which truly lets it stay up forever. And because it pretty much lasts forever, you can get it rolling and then pop a shield to activate Disruption Break and get what, a 140% buff to every melee hit with your Glaive? Wait, let me check that. That seems wrong. Well, I think that's right. On top of all of this season specifically, we've got an artifact mod that lets you weaken a target just by meleeing them. Just look how long it takes me to kill these knights using just the projectile or just the melee without the buffs. And then look how I am flying through them with all 4 of the buffs activated. Now this isn't the only glaive with this combo. Both Forthcoming Deviants from Salvation's Edge raid and Greasy Luck from Ghosts of the Deep Dungeon have this perk combo of Disruption Break and close to melee. But 1, not everyone raids and dungeon RNG is the absolute worst, and maybe more importantly 2, those are lightweight glaives that don't hit as hard to break the shield that get this whole thing going to begin with. So Heron is a hard-hitting aggressive glaive that also has a special origin trait that buffs your shots against shields and then also gives you heavy ammo meter progress when you break those shields, even if you don't finish the enemy off with that shot. So you get ammo energy on the shield burst, and then you get it again when you finish the enemy off with the melee. I mean, to me, that's a lot of reasons to want to run this glaive, and it's not even the only option. You can also run Binary Orbit in the 4th column as well to completely hone in on the weapon swapping of Disruption Break. Binary Orbit gives a 25% damage boost to your projectile after a kill with the weapon opposite this element. In this case, you want kinetic because of Disruption Break. So the loop looks like this. You break a shield with the Glaive, swap to a kinetic with a 50% damage buff, and finish with the kinetic weapon. And then when you swap back to your Glaive to pop the next shield, you've got a 25% damage buff from Binary Orbit from the kinetic kill. I think both of these are unique, and depending on your content or your playstyle, you may choose Binary Orbit or close to melee. Both pretty good. Regardless of which role you choose, go for as much reload and handling as you can for your PvE role, Alloy Magazine for big reload buff when empty in the 2nd column, but overall take what you can get for your God roll. And for PvP, there is potential for a disruption break shot and a quick swap to a fast kinetic weapon, but honestly, I don't see the perks here to encourage that trick shot type of handling. You need range and impulse amplifier on glaives to make them feel great in PvP, and if you spec out for that, you lose out on handling you'd need to do anything. For the King Orfeo precision bow rolls, there's honestly so many precision frame bows in the game now, you gotta really do something to stand out. Fortunately, we have Meganura and Jolting Feedback here. Neither have ever been on a bow before. Meganura didn't stand out to me too much with how slow it is to stack on a bow for the bigger elemental firefly type explosion. However, Jolting Feedback will apply jolt to a target after only 2 hits when you're amplified, and only 3 with enhanced Jolting Feedback when not amplified. Both pretty good. The only other thing that can do that, I think, is a rocket sidearm, but that's a special weapon. So this is good for really difficult encounters where you're just pelting a single target for a while, especially if you combine it with the origin trait from the beginning, Nail Meat Hammer. With the origin trait, you'll be doing more damage to shields, getting special ammo energy when you break them, and apply jolt every 2 shots when amplified. Something I want to point out here is the shots to get Jolting Feedback to activate don't require kills and don't have to be on the same target. It can be 2 different targets with consecutive shots. Additionally, since it's a season with Unstoppable Bow, you can take care of any champion you encounter if you run the seasonal anti-barrier mod on the bow. So you'll have Jolting Feedback for Overload, Unstoppable Bow in your artifact for Unstoppables, and the barrier mod on the weapon for barrier champs, all in one at pretty much any range. If I'm looking for a god roll on King Orfeo, I'm going to prioritize Archer's Tempo and Jolting Feedback to be able to have some help with the speed while I take shots at a single target for a bit in PvE. In PvP, I honestly would just look elsewhere. I hate the sights on this thing, and it truly offers nothing of note for PvP players that another bow couldn't do. Maybe there is something interesting with being amplified and getting those 2 shots off in PvP with Jolting Feedback, but the sights are so bad to me on this bow that I'm not sure there's any way I'd recommend it outside of PvE. So the Heron Glaive, yes, absolutely grab a roll for some unique hard-hitting close range stuff, but for the bow, I guess keep a Jolting Feedback roll, but I don't expect it to fly to the top of anyone's must-have PvE list. It just frankly doesn't hit that hard even with Jolting Feedback, whereas Heron hits plenty hard. There could be a use for both of these things though with the right exotic or subclass build. And I'm curious to see what ideas this sparks for any of you listening. Let me know in the comments if you found it helpful to have a little guide on the unique rolls found here in the event, but as always, thank you for just hanging out with me. This has been Lawless Flash. Until next time, GG.